Ethan used to climb ladders for a living. As a fire chief in a small Arizona town, he was the first to respond and the last to retreat. But today, at 73, he gripped the edge of his bed with trembling hands, afraid to stand. His legs, once pillars of strength, now betrayed him with every step. They cramped at night, ached during the day, and buckled without warning. One fall last winter left him with a bruised hip and a shattered sense of confidence. But here's the shocking part. Ethan wasn't sick. He wasn't even weak. He was missing 7 vitamins, that's it. And like Ethan, millions of seniors across the country are silently suffering from muscle weakness, cramps, and instability that aren't caused by old age, but by silent nutritional deficiencies. In this video, you'll discover the 7 powerhouse nutrients that could turn your legs from fragile to firm without medications or surgery. These are the vitamins that fuel your muscles, protect your bones, fire your reflexes, and keep you on your feet longer. Vitamin D, often called the mobility vitamin, it helps absorb calcium and supports balance and muscle response. Calcium, more than just bone support, it's essential for muscle contraction and movement control. Vitamin B12, critical for nerve signals. A lack causes numbness, instability, and slow reflexes. Magnesium, the calming mineral that prevents nighttime cramps and restless legs. Potassium, controls muscle strength and fluid balance, preventing tremors and fatigue. Vitamin K guides calcium into your bones instead of joints or arteries. Vitamin B6 speeds muscle repair, reduces inflammation, and keeps your legs from tiring too soon. These nutrients are more than vitamins. They're your body's blueprint for movement, protection, and independence. So if your legs feel heavy, if you're scared of falling, or if your nights are filled with cramps that steal your rest, don't just blame age. Join us as we reveal how these 7 essential nutrients can restore strength to your legs and help you walk tall again, confident, steady, and pain-free. Tired of leg cramps? Type 1 to see 7 vitamins that can strengthen your legs fast. Ethan sat in his doctor's office gripping the armrest. He expected bad news: arthritis, nerve damage, or some irreversible condition that would explain why his legs felt like they were crumbling beneath him. But what the doctor said next changed everything. Ethan, your blood work shows severe deficiencies in vitamin D and B12. That's likely why you're falling, cramping, and constantly fatigued. Not age, not disease, just missing nutrients. Ethan was stunned. Wait, you're saying vitamins are what's making my legs feel like they're failing me? Yes, the doctor said. And the good news? We can fix it. That moment was Ethan's turning point. For years, he believed his declining mobility was just part of growing older. He'd quietly accepted the aches, the weakness, the humiliating fall outside his mailbox. But now he realized it didn't have to be this way. The truth is, as we age, our bodies absorb less of what they need most. Less sun means less vitamin D. Reduced stomach acid makes it harder to process B12. And the medications we take for blood pressure or heart disease, many of them drain our magnesium and potassium without us even knowing. What happens next is terrifying. Muscles weaken, balance falters, and falls become life-threatening. But here's the hope. Rebuilding begins with knowledge. Ethan started small. He added more salmon, leafy greens, and fortified cereals to his meals. He took a daily D3 supplement, and after consulting his doctor, began B12 injections every few weeks. Within a month, the difference was undeniable. He could stand up from his recliner without bracing himself. His nighttime leg cramps faded, his confidence restored. This wasn't just recovery, it was renewal. And Ethan isn't alone. You or someone you love might be on the same path. Weak legs and fatigue aren't always about age. They're about fuel. And without the right vitamins, your body simply can't move the way it used to. Now that Ethan knew the truth, he made a choice. To walk forward, not with fear, but with strength. It was a crisp autumn morning when Ethan decided to take a short walk to the corner store, a route he'd walked 100 times. The sun was out, the air was fresh, and for the first time in months, his legs felt stable, maybe even strong. Halfway down the block, he heard a voice. "Hey, Mr. Ethan, want a race?" It was Noah, his 8-year-old neighbor, playfully skipping beside him. With a chuckle, Ethan picked up the pace, just a little. But as he stepped off the curb, everything changed. His right leg seized. A sharp, stabbing cramp surged through his calf. His knee buckled. The world spun. He reached out. Too late. He collapsed hard onto the pavement. The pain was bad, but worse was the look on Noah's face. Confused, scared, unsure what just happened. Ethan felt humiliated. Just moments before, he'd felt hope. Now it was like his body betrayed him all over again. Paramedics arrived. Thankfully, nothing was broken, but the ER doctor didn't sugarcoat it. "You're dangerously low in magnesium and potassium." This wasn't just a cramp, it was a warning. That fall was the wake-up call Ethan didn't know he still needed. He realized something crucial. Progress isn't linear. Yes, he had improved his diet. Yes, he was supplementing. But what he didn't know was that medications he was taking for blood pressure were depleting his minerals faster than he could replace them. He wasn't failing, he was underinformed. The doctors adjusted his treatment plan. He began taking magnesium glycinate, known for its high absorption rate, and focused on potassium-rich meals, avocados, sweet potatoes, and beans. He also learned the importance of hydration and light stretching, especially before walking. That single fall transformed his mindset. He stopped treating his recovery like a short sprint and began seeing it as a long-term investment in his freedom. Because the truth is, even one fall can steal your independence. But with the right knowledge and the right nutrients, you can rewrite your story before it's too late. Something changed in Ethan after that fall, not just in his body, but in his mind. For years, he had quietly accepted his decline. He believed what most seniors are told. It's just part of getting older. But lying in that hospital bed, staring at the ceiling, Ethan finally asked himself, what if it's not just age? What if it's something I can fix? He began digging deeper. He learned that nearly 80% of older adults are deficient in vitamin D and vitamin B12, and many don't even know it. He read how low magnesium levels are linked to nighttime cramps, how vitamin K helps steer calcium away from arteries and into bones, and how vitamin B6 helps rebuild muscle after minor damage. He had always thought of vitamins as optional, just something you grab at the pharmacy and forget. Now he saw them as medicine nature intended, targeted, powerful, and life-changing. Ethan also started tracking his food. He noticed how little potassium he was getting and how much processed food, low in magnesium and B6, was on his plate. He swapped canned soup for lentil stew, sugary snacks for bananas and almonds, and added leafy greens to every dinner. But the biggest shift? He stopped seeing himself as a victim of aging. He started seeing himself as a partner in his own healing. Every supplement he took wasn't just a pill, it was a promise to himself. Every healthy meal wasn't just nutrition, it was an investment in his freedom. Every walk, every stretch, every glass of water, it was part of his new plan to stay on his feet and stay in control. And with each passing week, his confidence grew. The stairs no longer felt like mountains. Getting out of a chair didn't require a second thought. He even started volunteering at the local firehouse, helping younger recruits learn basic safety drills. Because Ethan learned a vital truth. You don't have to surrender to aging. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is believe in your ability to fight back. With each passing month, Ethan's world grew wider. What started as a desperate attempt to stop falling had turned into something far greater, a second chance at living. His legs, once unreliable and frail, now carried him with purpose. He no longer needed to brace himself before standing or scan rooms for support rails. And one afternoon, he did something he hadn't done in years. He danced. At his granddaughter's wedding, as the music started and people clapped around the couple, Ethan stood up slowly, then confidently walked to the dance floor. At first, it was just a sway, but soon he was moving with rhythm. His granddaughter gasped and laughed. "Grandpa, look at you!" Tears welled up in her eyes. That moment was more than just a dance. It was a declaration. A year ago, he could barely walk without pain. Now he was reclaiming joy, and it didn't stop there. Ethan signed up for a senior walking group. He met others who shared his struggles, some who hadn't heard of the importance of magnesium or vitamin K. He began sharing what he had learned, how vitamin B6 rebuilt his muscle endurance, how potassium-rich foods like sweet potatoes gave him energy, and how a simple vitamin D supplement gave him back control over his balance. Suddenly, Ethan wasn't just healing, he was helping. He started gardening again, volunteered at his community center, and even took a weekend trip with friends to Sedona, hiking a trail he thought he'd never see again. This wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was the cumulative effect of consistent choices, meals made with purpose, supplements taken with intention, and the courage to believe that better was still possible. Because for Ethan, those 7 vitamins weren't just nutrients. They were keys to strength, stability, and freedom. And the opportunity, it's not just his. It belongs to anyone willing to take that first step forward, 1 foot at a time. Ethan didn't just regain strength, he became someone new. Months ago, he was afraid to step outside alone. Now he welcomes sunrise walks, each step a symbol of victory over the fear that once held him hostage. His legs, formerly stiff and unreliable, had become his foundation again. But what surprised him most wasn't his mobility. It was his mindset. He was no longer surviving. He was thriving. For years, Ethan believed independence faded with age. He thought weakness, pain, and decline were inevitable. But by learning how his body actually works, how magnesium calms overactive muscles, how vitamin B12 sharpens nerve function, and how vitamin K channels strength into his bones, he discovered something profound. Aging doesn't mean giving up. It means getting smarter. He found joy in simplicity, chopping vegetables for a stir-fry rich in B6 and potassium, soaking up morning sun to boost his vitamin D, even reading labels with fresh eyes when buying supplements. But more than that, Ethan grew emotionally. He stopped viewing his body as broken and started treating it as something worth fighting for. He forgave himself for the years of neglect and embraced this chapter not as an ending, but as a new beginning. People noticed. His family, his neighbors, Even his doctor, who once warned him about fragility, now praised his resilience. And Ethan started mentoring others at his local wellness center, guiding fellow seniors through the same transformation he once thought impossible. He had become the very thing he once needed, a living example of hope. Today, Ethan doesn't fear the stairs. He doesn't dread the night. He moves with peace, knowing that what once broke him now builds him. And it all started with one decision: to stop blaming age and start fueling strength. Because growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means rising, wiser, stronger, and more alive than ever before. And if Ethan could rebuild, so can you. Ethan once thought his best days were behind him, that the weight in his legs, the cramps at night, the wobble in his step were signs that life was winding down. But he was wrong. Now he stands taller, not just because his legs are stronger, but because his spirit is renewed. He's not chasing his youth. He's honoring his present. The truth is, every senior deserves what Ethan found: the chance to move freely, live confidently, and age with dignity. And sometimes that begins with something as small and powerful as a vitamin. These 7 nutrients aren't just scientific names in a health book. They are lifelines. Vitamin D helps you rise from bed without pain. Calcium keeps your frame stable and unshakable. Vitamin B12 restores your balance, your coordination, your nerve function. Magnesium quiets the nighttime spasms that steal your sleep. Potassium fuels your steps, your stamina, your strength. Vitamin K makes sure every ounce of calcium works for you, not against you. Vitamin B6 gives your muscles the resilience to recover and the power to endure. Ethan didn't need a miracle. He needed awareness and action. And so do you. This isn't just about legs. It's about living on your own terms, going to the grocery store without fear, dancing at a family reunion, taking that walk without a cane. It's about freedom. And the journey starts now, not tomorrow, not next year. Now, so if your body is whispering that something feels off, listen. If your legs ache or tremble or cramp, pay attention. And if your heart is telling you that you deserve better, believe it, because you do. Ethan's story isn't unique. It's just the one that got told. Yours is next. And it begins with a single step, fueled by the right vitamins, the right food, and the belief that it's never too late to stand strong again. The biggest lesson Ethan learned wasn't about vitamins. It was about listening to his body. For too long, he mistook fatigue for aging, cramps for normal, and weakness for something he just had to live with. But the truth is, our bodies speak to us every day. The stiffness, the trembling, the lack of balance, they're not just symptoms of age, they're signals. And when we learn to listen, we gain the power to heal. Ethan realized that small deficiencies, left unchecked, can take away your freedom. But just as easily, small corrections can bring it back. The lesson? Don't wait. Don't ignore the signs. Don't assume it's just age. Instead, be proactive. Learn what your body needs. Fuel it with intention. And most importantly, believe that change is possible, no matter how old you are. Because the real strength doesn't come from your legs. It comes from your willingness to fight for them. Start with a simple checklist. Get your vitamin D levels tested, especially if you don't go out in the sun often. Eat potassium-rich foods like bananas, avocados, and sweet potatoes. Add leafy greens for vitamin K and magnesium. Check if your medications may be depleting B12 or magnesium. Talk to your doctor about supplementing with D3, B12, or B6 if needed. Walk every day. Even 10 minutes makes a difference. Stretch your legs gently before bed to prevent cramps. It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about making one smart choice at a time. Just like Ethan, you can rebuild your strength, balance, and confidence, one step at a time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and share with your friends. Your support keeps these stories alive. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And if today's story touched your heart, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, stay well, and see you in the next story.